Today, I'm going to be building and painting a Gundam for the first time. I've been painting Warhammer and other miniatures type models for a few years now, but I've been meaning to try one of these for a while because everyone talks about how great they are, so I was pretty excited to see what the hype was about. This is interesting for like the laser sword things. There's a lot of plastic in this box, for sure. This is definitely a lot more than would come in to, a box of Space Marines, so it's a bit intimidating, but the build experience was definitely very good. The instructions, very clear. Everything fits together well, which was an interesting experience coming from Warhammer, because push fit in Warhammer sucks, kind of. Chin, his eyes. But yeah, it was pretty cool. There's some cool effect parts, like this bendy ammo belt, which became a bit of a pain later for me, but it was cool. When I built this one, I did this thing where I clipped out all the sprue connections like far away from the part, and then I would use a better pair of clippers to clip them closer, because I've seen people build Gundams like that on YouTube before. Here you can see my broken pair of god hands that I use to build everything. I've built a few more Gundams now, and I don't bother doing this anymore. I think it's a waste of time. Especially if you're gonna paint over this, it doesn't really matter so much, the marks, or it doesn't matter to me. I don't know. People are pretty crazy about this, but I don't sand every surface. I think it's a lot of work. The mold lines are pretty minimal, which is great. Parts like the gun here, like the grip on the gun, have some mold lines. But overall, I mean, this one was pretty good. There's mold lines and seam lines are very minimal. Here I am showing a bit of my Warhammerness by gluing every part of this gun together. Push fit in Warhammer is not so good, and usually we just clip all the pegs off and glue it together like it's a normal model. I have since learned that that is not the case for Gundam. I wouldn't waste my time gluing all these parts together anymore. There's no need. They actually push fit together perfectly well and stick together. The beam rifle design on this guy is really cool, I think, even though it doesn't have the bendy foregrip. So here I am doing more of this performative clipping. And gluing. I was kind of obsessed with gluing around every joint on this kit instead of just push fitting it together. This can move a bit. Which, I don't know, it kind of ended up being a waste of time, I think. I guess this shoulder joint is really solid, though. It's not going to fall apart. Here I've got most of the arm put together here, the skeleton of the arm. It's kind of crazy. It was pretty crazy to, put something together and be like, oh, he can, bend his arm? Now here's some of the leg. I was really drawn to this model as a new Gundam fan, because it was very new at the time. I think I bought this at Comic-Con, and I kept seeing ads for it on Instagram, and all the covered in panel lines and details. I was like, oh, that's so cool. It's not plain. I think my tastes have changed a bit now. That looks good to me. Oh. So now I have all the parts put together. Time skip a little bit, putting together on video I haven't done this before already and played with him a bunch. But it is really fun. It's kind of crazy. The posability is pretty great. He can really kick his leg out and stuff. Alright, now I'm actually going to do something interesting for the first time in the video. So I wanted to replace this Earth Federation logo on the shield with an Eldar decal I had, because I thought it would look cool and be a little bit different. So here I am mangling it up with my clippers. And then I just kind of scraped it and sanded it flat with my knife. Take one. Take a little sip of the water of life here. A little break. Here's some more of the accessories. Man, putting this thing together, man, you get dust all over your desk. I was brushing this desk off all the time. Here he is in some poses. This is pretty fun. He can get around a lot. time skip again. So now I have all the parts airbrushed, and I'm kind of putting it together in some sub-assembly so I can have like work on each limb and like the torso at once. This was a little bit tricky to get all these parts to fit after I'd painted over them. The fit was not so good anymore. I don't really know how you're supposed to make this work. I still haven't really figured out what the secret is. I don't know if like pro custom Gundam makers like sand everything down, every joint, which became a bit of a headache for me later on. Here I'm brush painting some of like the inner frame details that are connected to armor bits. If I was a true Gundam painting fanatic, I probably would have masked these pieces off with some like insanely precise mask like a psychopath. But I would way rather use the paintbrush. I think it's way easier. I don't know how they do it, man. But most of these are pretty convenient to just hit really quick, I feel like. I'm using Vallejo, like a dark gray from Vallejo for this inner frame, all the inner frame parts, so that I could brush paint it as well as airbrushing it. I don't know if it's really typical to use like acrylics like this to paint these things, because I feel like they're maybe not as strong. I was really terrified to touch this by the time I had like painted everything, even though there was like 7 layers of varnish over everything. It's really easy to chip. I try to just fix any little mishap that would happen with weathering later. But yeah, I mean, the way these built together, everything just clicks. I don't know if I really got that the first time trying to glue stuff together and worrying too much about everything, but on subsequent Gundam builds, you kind of understand. I was a bit terrified of scratching the paint here, but this was really satisfying. After having airbrushed these parts for like months, I mean, not literal months of airbrushing, but it took me months to get around to airbrushing all this. Finally putting them together was really satisfying. Yeah, there was a few times where I had to like use that dental tool to like yank out parts. I even tried like sanding down some of the pegs that like stuff would go together with to try and make it easier to take apart and then put it back together later. I don't know if that was a good idea or not, but I ended up just using some dabs of super glue here and there to like get stuff to go together, like I'm doing right now. But it turned out okay, mostly. I kind of just went for this. I didn't really know what I was doing, but it was a very interesting learning experience. Having a few layers of paint over some of these things made the connections pretty tight. I'm not really sure if I ever got this foot top half and bottom half to really stick together all the way. I never really like watched anything or like I didn't really know anything about Gundam when I bought this. I just wanted to try it as a model kit. I did end up watching the Netflix show that this one goes to, Requiem for a Vengeance. It was okay. I thought the fight scenes looked really cool. And then when it would go to a character scene, it was very evident that it was made in Unreal Engine. But the fight scenes were really cool. I was pretty sold on which one I had chosen. He was like a monster in this show. And since that, I've watched a shit ton of Gundam stuff. I'm a convert. Painting some more of these piston details in this armor plate part. I just thought it would look cool because they seem a bit more mechanical. To have a bit of gray poking out here. It's kind of funny, the difference between like painting a miniature versus a Gundam, because you spray everything and you're like, okay, now everything's the right color. It's like, I have to paint like a vent separately now. But if you're painting a miniature, like obviously, like you have to do that with every single part of him. Like it's not even like, you don't even think about that as an inconvenience, really. This lightsaber rack thing was really cool. I was happy to glue this on because it would always fall off. Before I painted him, this part would fall off really easily. This and the machine gun kind of annoyed me. They are really cool. I like that he could reach up and grab the beam saber thing out of his backpack, like just with the motion of range in his arms. I was impressed. Couldn't resist putting the head together to see what he would look like, and then I had to take it off right away so I could paint his eyes. Thought it would be cool to like paint his eyes kind of like you would a Space Marine. I had a few different like neon greens here that I was using to just make some highlights. Did his little head camera at the top of his head too.
His gut is so, like, he looks like he's pregnant, dude. I'm so scared for him. Like, he's gonna get cancer.
For how big of a model this is compared to what I would usually do, his eyes are actually still pretty small. Trying out one of the Army Painter new metallics here. I don't like it quite as much as the Scale 75 ones, but it does look still looks pretty good. The beam rifle is such a cool weapon. The tip of it always made me think of like a melt-a-gun, so I kind of wanted to paint it like that with a brass color. Now I'm moving into some decals. I'm going to do the one on the shield first with this kind of like Torii Gate symbol from an Eldar sheet. I'm just soaking them in some water. I have some microset and microsol here to like help them adhere and melt the backing a little bit. So the magnifying glass, man. These Gundam decals are insane. Like I've like coming from Warhammer, like dude, the text and like the quality of printing is like crazy. And they're like way less expensive than Warhammer decals too. I bought like both of these sheets for like $8 to $10 each. I've paid $30 and waited months for my Dark Angels transfers that were like considerably worse quality. Like the text is so small that I'm like searching for it on a magnifying glass. And I can't even figure out what it says, but it's there. It's not like a squiggle like you would get in Warhammer. It's like it's actually there. It says something. This one, the big ESFF, Jesus. Logo on the shield. I thought that would be a good spot for it. I was using those little makeup sponges before. Man, this thing works so much better. I use this on all my decals now. If you have one of these big makeup sponge things, use that to press your decals in place. It works really good. Now I'm just brushing on some microsol to get the backing paper to melt. My experience with this, I think on the Eldar decals, it worked pretty well. On the decals from Bandai, it worked pretty well. And I think I had another sheet of like Titans decals from G Rework or something. They did not melt the backing paper quite as well. I couldn't really get them to go down. But they still look pretty cool. I mean, it's not that big of a deal after a matte varnish. Yeah, man, the text on these is so small. Like, I was really trying to read, because, you know, I don't want to put, like, a decal that says, like, warning thruster, like, on his head or something like that. It would look silly. But I actually just can't read it. The text is so small. Like, it's there, but it's so small. I don't know how they do it. I'm amazed. But it is, dude. You'll see, like, these triangles from Warhammer. Like, look at that big-ass triangle compared to the tiny text I'll do later. And it's, like, it's pixelated. That big triangle is, like, you could see the little pixels of printing. I also put this little symbol on his shoulder because I thought it would look cool. The decal broke, but I fixed it.
Those guys, those are the villagers. Flint and steel.
See, I got this into place, and then later on I decided, wouldn't it be cool if I put a number right next to it? And it didn't fit, and it took me forever to like get the number to go into place. But yeah, like look at that. Look at that tiny little text. It's so cool. Fucking magnifying glass. There's my number that doesn't quite fit on the shoulder pad. I thought I should get in the Federation symbol on here somewhere after carving it off the shield. I think I got it to fit pretty well actually over this like a over the textured surface of the chest plate. I had to like stop myself from just putting decals everywhere. I tried to think about like where it would make sense. Just wanted like little bits of those white accents to come through. I also put a gloss varnish on before I did this, of course. I'm going to do some weathering now. So this is me trying to get open my oil paint pots and putting them on some cardboard and dropping them apparently. But you got to put these out on a bit of cardboard for like an hour to 45 minutes before you use them. That helps like drain out the oil a bit. And then it doesn't take forever to dry. I've made the mistake of not draining the oil out before and then had my oil paint like wet on my model for like months. You can already see some of like the oil soaking out onto that piece of cardboard. But while I wait for that to get ready, I thought I would do some chipping, which I love doing. That sounded sarcastic, but it wasn't. I really do like this part. It's really satisfying to me. I went in with a bit of sponge first. Just trying to... I mean, look, I'll say that I was trying to think about like where would get the most chipped. Had a bit too big of a splodge there. But I kind of just put it everywhere because it looks really cool. Definitely wanted to get it by like the knees or like wherever there's a joint because there's like parts are going to hit each other. And then I went in with the brush to get like, make sure I got the edges to give some definition. And also if there was any parts where I had rubbed paint off before, like there was on the bottom of the leg there, I made sure to cover that up with some chips. I'm just using a dark brown here, also from Vallejo. I like using this really long, thin brush to do this. I think we've had another considerable time skip. You can see that I've built 2 more Gundam models in between painting this one. Yeah, chipping all these limbs and stuff did take quite a long time, but it was worth it. Definitely got to get it over the decals too, make them look kind of worn into the surface. It's amazing what a bit of matte varnish will do for your decals too. It looks so much better now. Getting them along every like hard edge really helps with the definition too, I think. It looks really cool. So now I'm going to start with the oil dot filter. So the concept of this kind of is to take a few different colors of oil paints and you just place little dots of them all around the surface. I kind of focused this on the red armor, but if it got onto the inner frame bits, that was okay too. And you put these different colored dots all around it, and then you just sort of blend them together and you create a bunch of like streaks and just like minor color variations in the armor panels. That looks really cool. So I got a bit of rust and I got a bit of this like tan to be like light dirt or bird poop or something. I like using this Payne's gray as sort of like oil stains. I tried to get like any mechanical bits out and like put a lot of the gray around. And then I just kind of use this big flat brush and you just kind of swipe up and down to create these streaks. And it looks pretty stark at first, but oil paints will blend out the more you work them. So it's a bit of a, you just have to be brave, trust the process. You'll see, it looks good when I'm finished. I think so anyway. But it was a bit of a flat surface before, and this is going to add a lot of like life to it, sort of. You just kind of go away like this. It's pretty fun. And if you get like a big streak, like that E has been turned completely orange, you know, I don't really want that, but you can just kind of blend it out. And you can use a bit of thinner to just kind of get it off if you need to. But you can kind of see what the decals look like before and after I've done that. And it really weathers them and kind of blends them in to the armor. It's my cat. Speaking of my cat, he chewed up my beam sabers. I left them out too long on my desk, waiting to airbrush them, and he chewed them the fuck up. Look how fucked up that one is. One was salvageable, at least, though. The one on the right I could fix, but the one on the left I was a lost cause. I don't know what I'm going to do with that. Can never do the dual swords pose again. So I had primed it by this point, but I hadn't like painted it yet, so I sanded it a little bit and tried to bend it back in shape, and I used a bit of sprue goo, which is just like bits of sprue melted into your plastic glue, which makes it kind of thick, to try and fill in all his little teeny bite marks. Here's our culprit.
Aww.
Magnus.
Hi. Aww. Hi. Did you do that? Mm-hmm. You're so cute.
Oh, alright, alright.
It looks like Stray.
Meow. So since doing the weathering, I've given it another varnish so that I can do an oil wash here, which I'm trying to figure out how to thin. I still can't really figure out what like the right dilution for an oil wash is. Sometimes I do it like, I feel like I always do it too thin and it like splits up. Does anybody else ever have this problem? Guys, does anybody else ever have this problem where their oil wash just doesn't fucking work and it drives them insane? But it turns out, I feel like black is the easiest color to work with here because it's highly pigmented or something. I don't know. These parts are always supposed to be so satisfying and they always piss me off. I'm not going to lie. I feel like I can never tell, especially on a glossy surface, like if the wash is going into the recess that I want it to, or like what it's going to look like when it's dry, or like I wipe it off when it's dry and like it comes out of the recess or something like that, or it splits and looks weird. I always feel like I'm ruining my model when I do this, and then like it dries and I wipe it off and it looks fine. I think it turned out pretty well eventually. And then I just use this, I like these little makeup applicator sponges. These work better for wiping off oil washes than they do for squeezing out decal solution. This took a long time too, man. There's a lot of stuff to wash. It's got really big parts, you know? Here I am wiping some more. I went through a lot of these sponges wiping off this whole thing, dude. Maybe if I didn't make such a mess in the first place, it wouldn't take so long, but I don't know. I just tend to do it that way. I don't mind a bit of staining anyway, too. It had some cool weathering, I feel like. You just kind of have to be extra careful. You don't have any particularly unsightly ones. But yeah, those like vents on the feet there, if you can see them, that's the kind of thing where I always feel like, oh, am I wiping wash out of this? I can't tell. I thought it looks fine. Once I gave it a matte varnish, I was like, okay, it looks good. Like, there's definition. But in the moment, I was a little bit like, is this working? I did go back. After a varnish, I did drop it in a couple recesses just to make sure. If your hands don't look like this when you're eating your lunch. I'm fixing the beam saber again here. I was just sanding down some of the bits that I filled in.
Don't worry about what?
I was talking to myself.
You were telling yourself to not worry?
I don't know.
That's so sad, man.
Oh, no, it's not.
You have to tell yourself to not worry?
It's sad.
What?
I think I did an okay job at like trying to do the lightsaber effect. You'll see. I try to make it like kind of brighter towards the bottom where it would be coming out of like the handle. And also like kind of brighter on two sides and then darker on two sides, so it looks like it's like more lit up in the middle. It's like a kind of a weird effect. It only really works from like you have to like angle it a certain way. It was kind of satisfying. I don't know. Looks okay, I guess.
It's alright, man. Don't worry about it. Keep going.
Tesseract Glow is really fun to play with, though. It's such a neon green paint. So now, finally, I have all the parts painted. I'm all done. I can finally put them together. I was very excited for this. Oh my god, that's so bad!
Did you break
I
it?
broke it!
No!
That's fucked up!
What was that?
It's like his whole wrist just shattered. Oh my fucking god.
Fuck, man. Do you have to
I don't know what I'm even gonna
glue
do
it or
about
something?
that. That's fucked up as shit.
Oh no. It doesn't go together then, I
No,
presume.
it sucks. What the fuck?
Yo.
For real?
fuck.
Why are you so bad? His wrists were like so... You know when you get to like the end of your project and you're kind of like a bit done, you know? It's like ready for this to be over. I was there. Definitely there by this point. I'm going to very carefully try and glue this wrist back into place by gluing these bits of armor panel back on with some super glue without getting any super glue on the like joint part itself. It's pretty tricky. But it was fixable. Everything's fixable, guys. Everything's fixable. That's my motivational message of the video, alright? Trying not to crash out here. So here he is, all together. I think if I were ever to do this again, which I probably will, this was pretty cool, but if I ever paint this again, I think I would rather do it as more of like part of a diorama, or at least with like a diorama base. And I would just glue him into one pose and not have to worry about anything moving.
Wow. Good job, Liam. I'm so proud of you.
Oh my god.
You okay? Are you...
Alright,
are you...
this guy to go in a cabinet and I've never touched my gun.
Are you... Wow. Here, give me a high five.
I'm so done with him.
What is this?
I'm pretty happy with him. I mean, I think the weathering and the decals and stuff look pretty cool. I think the color scheme looks pretty cool. Special thank you to Sanaan for recording this video, directing it, doing all the editing, making the music for it, basically doing all the hard work. Go support him on his photography and music pages.